Salute Knicks Nation, salute Giants Nation. Thank you for joining me on another evening of the Man-Cave podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2023 Knicks free agency, how you feel about it, or lack of free agency. And also, are you sold on this front office of the New York Knicks? But before we get started, if this is your first time watching this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button so that way you can know when I'm coming on, and also hit that notification bell to also let you know when I'll be on live to give you my analysis and what I think about what's going on in the world of the New York Knicks, the New York Giants, and just the sports world trend and what's going on sports wise. But on today's episode, 2023 Knicks free agency, or the lack of, or you sold on the front office. Well, let's dive right into it. I've been listening to other podcasters and also the national media and hearing their opinions of what's going on, with the Knicks, or the lack of, or the moves that the Knicks made. Looking into the season, after the way the season ended in the playoffs, in the second round of the playoffs, I felt like the Knicks they needed some more playmaking and also some more guys who are like dogs, who have that it factor. So I wanted to see what they were going to do in free agency. And yeah, I know they didn't have too much cap space, but so there's other teams that don't have cap spaces, but also make moves too. So I was kind of thinking like the Knicks may have made a move, but then again, like I said, it's still not over yet. There could be some moves made, but up until this point, it looks like we're just going to run it back and see what we can do and stuff like that. Also the way the season ended, also, you know, draft, the NBA draft. We didn't have a draft pick in this draft at all, which was kind of, like I said, one of the first times the Knicks didn't have a draft pick at all. And I thought they were probably going to get into the draft, like buy a draft pick, either the late first round or some second round picks, but that didn't happen. But then again, you think about it, even if they would have gotten a first round pick or even a second round pick, I mean, will the draft pick even play? You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like they wanted a veteran player. They didn't want no more young players to put into the rotation, because the rotation is already like about 9 players. And then also just recently they made it. They did make one trade, which was traded Obi Toppin, which to me like a fan favorite. I hated to see Obi go, but in essence, like I said, I wish he'd go to Indiana and really show out, because he really needed to shine, and he wasn't getting that much burn over here, behind Julius Randle, Tom Thibodeau coaching. So I think for him that was a good move, for Obi Toppin, so his game could grow. But like I said, me personally, the way I felt about the Obi Toppin thing, I just felt like the Knicks gave him away basically, because you picked this guy in the first round, the 8th overall pick. He played about three or four seasons in New York. He didn't really get the burn that he needed. I know some people might say, well, he didn't earn some of it, but it's like, this is a young team. It's like, you got to let the guys go. You got to let them play, so they could show you. You know what I'm saying? So the thing with Obi Toppin, like I said, you picked him in the first round, the 8th overall, and then you trade him for 2 second-round picks. I mean, that's not good management. At least if you trade him, get a first round pick back, or get somebody who's going to be in a rotation for you, like a position of need. Like if you need some shooting, you probably could have got somebody back. Like you could have waited for a trade to get Buddy Hield or somebody like that, or something back, or what's his name, Chris Duarte. You could have got him back in the deal. But I guess the Knicks did it to open up some more cap room so they could go and sign Dante DiVincenzo, the guard out of Villanova. So now we're back to the Villanova trio with Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Dante D. But like I said, to me, it's like addition. Somebody look at addition by subtraction, but I look at it like Obi Toppin was a need. He was needed on our team. Back up to Julius Randle. Obi Toppin, I like Obi, you know what I'm saying? Because Obi really brought energy. He brought some excitement to the Knicks and things like that. I just thought, should have been given more court time, really get out there and flourish. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So the Knicks shipped him off. So that was the only trade that the Knicks did make in the offseason, which, like I said, to me, if they wanted to trade Obi, they should have used him in like a blockbuster deal or something like that, because he is an asset. And you don't just give away assets, for like second round picks or something like that. So I think that was poorly mismanaged how they did that. I think he deserved it better than that, but, it is the Knicks. Like I said, only time will tell if that move will pay off or not pay off. But as far as the trade, there's other trades going on in the NBA, like uh, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal deal already happened. He already got traded to the Phoenix Suns. James Harden, which I want no part of. The Knicks fans know we don't want no part of that. The Damian Lillard, Lillard, but we got Jalen Brunson who's playing like an all-star, so that don't happen. I'm fine with that too. But as far as like free agency, I really felt like the Knicks should have got like some shooters. Like I wonder, like Seth Curry. He went to the Mavericks for only like a 2-year, $9 million deal, which I feel like we could have paid him that. We need shooters in the playoff. That was part of our problem, the shooting. We don't have really too many good shooters. And I think if you wasn't going to swing for the fences in this off season, then you should at least try to, like, if you want to run it back with some, like, guys who can help you, like some shooters. Like I said, I thought Seth Curry was one, a shooter like that, and they could have got him on the cheap, but they didn't do that. Dallas ended up getting him, so that was one. Then also Gary Trent Jr. He resigned back with he opted in, signed back with Toronto, so that was off the table. Something like that. Max Strus from the Miami Heat. I thought he was going to be like a $10 million player, but he ended up being a $16 million player in a sign and trade with the Heat and the Cavs. So that was off the table. You know, so the shooting market really kind of dwindled. So, like I said, at that point, I guess the Knicks is like, you know what, we don't have too much cap space, and I think the Knicks only have like a 12 million trade exception or something, or mid-level exception, something like that they could use because they have the cap right now. And I think it won't be until next offseason, this offseason coming up, that they will have some cap space. But like I said, as far as my grade for the Knicks free agency, the only person they signed was Dante D. Signed for a 4-year, $50 million deal, which is not too bad, but that wasn't the deal I was looking for. I mean, that player that I was looking for. So with that, with the Dante D signing and the Obi Toppin trade, and also no picks in the draft, I think I could give the Knicks a solid D. I really want to give them an F, but I think I'll just give them a D just to see how it plays out. With the Dante D, see how the backcourt looks like now. Look like we got a lot of like a small backcourt. With Dante D, Hart, Brunson. But yeah, but they're dogs. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we'll see how it pans out. But like I said, as far as the free agency, I wasn't too thrilled with it. I thought we could have done better in free agency, but obviously we didn't. I mean, we didn't have too much to play with. So we'll see what happens with these guys and stuff like that. You know, as far as like, and then the next one, are you sold on this front office? Me personally, I'm like kind of like, I don't know what to make of them because, like I said, they've been here for 4 years, and 4 years, and yeah, we got to the playoff 2 times. The last season we got there to the second round. So I'll have to see what happens this year in the offseason. But if we bomb out again in the second round or the first round, I could see. Me personally, I would want the front office gone, with the regime gone. But that's for James Dolan, the owner, to decide what he wants to do. But I think like 4 years is a long time because every Knicks fan says, "Oh, we got to be patient." It's like, bro, we've been patient for a long time. We've been losing for a while, so it's not about the patience. We've been patient. We just want to have a winner. And like I said, this front office, when they first came in, I thought that was one of the best times for them to do anything because for the first time, the front office that we ever had in the Knicks in a long time came in with no salary cap. I mean, we were under the cap. We had like about 60, $70 million to spend. All the other past Knicks general managers and front office, they were always over the salary cap. So they had to clean up the mess before they could do anything. And most of the time, they didn't clean up the mess. They just pile on the mess. And that's why we were in the position we were in for decades. Just keep losing and just salary cap hell. So, like I said, when they first came in, I was like, they was giving a clean plate. There was some free agents out there, that I thought they could have got at the time, but it never materialized. So they went into it. They really can, they just ended up spending money, on some players that were like, to me at the time, were like B and C level players. So when that happens, the results is not going to be too good. And that's exactly what happened. It wasn't too good. Yeah, I think the first season we went to the playoffs, but then we missed the playoffs the second season, things like that. But like I said, I thought that was their time to put a stamp on it, and they didn't put a stamp on it. So they blew that opportunity. And then, like I said, when they first came in, and that's the thing, when they first came in, we was under the impression that these guys, like Leon Rose, he was a agent, so he had a lot of clients, like big A-list clients in the NBA. So, which means he had a lot of connections. Also, World Wide West, he had a lot of connections too. And so we thinking like, oh, we might get guys coming here. If people want to come to play in New York, they want to come to play. Yeah, we were a losing team, and sometimes that plays into it too. But it's a big market team, so it's like, hey, we had enough money to sign like two max free agents. So we thought it was like, hey, maybe if one person want to come, he might want to bring his buddy. But that never materialized. And then I looked on, so I was like, man, wait a minute, this guy has a lot of clients, but none of his clients want to come play for him. He couldn't get none of his clients to come and sign. And also World Wide West had connections and all that stuff, and they couldn't do nothing. And after that, like I said, after that first free agency, I was like, I went on some other podcasts, and I even said, I was like, yo, these guys are a fraud. They can't get the job done. They have no, they got no, these guys got no connections. Nobody wants to come play for them. They got all this money, and they can't give the money away. Nobody wanted it. So it's like, how you can't get nobody to come and play for you? You know what I'm saying? So, that was the first year. I was like, okay, well, let's see what they can do, as far as like sign people and or try to see if they can make a trade to make the Knicks better. Not too much either after that either. So it's almost to the point where it's just like, hey, what's going on? I mean, you were brought in here. The first thing you was brought in here to attract stars to come to New York, which didn't happen. So then they changed their narrative. The front office did from, I mean, what people say like, well, that's not what they were brought in here for. But I know that's what it was. I know that's what they was brought in here for. But they changed the narrative from that to, from attracting free agents to, oh, we're going to trade for a disgruntled player. Okay, well, there's been a little bit of disgruntled players, but guess what? They never made their way to New York. So I don't know like what this other disgruntled player they're gonna keep waiting on. Every time it's around, it's like, oh, this person might be disgruntled, but guess what? They don't get traded here, or their preference is not New York. So I don't know what it is, but like I said, if you can't get players here, but either by free agency or by a big time trade, then I don't know. And like I said, it's 4 years on the job. So next year will be five. It'll be 5 years on the job, and 5 years in today's professional sports is a long time. It's not like a year or 2 years, and there's a turnover of a front office. But you give it 4 or 5 years to really strengthen the team and put your stamp of approval on it. And like I said, going into year 5, this is going to be a big, big pressure year for this front office and this coach. Like I said, and the thing with the coach, like I've never really, I've never really bought into Tom Thibodeau as a coach. I mean, he's a good coach. He's not a great coach because, like I say, he was the coach of Chicago Bulls when they had Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson, Luol Deng. He had some great players. Yeah, I know Derrick Rose got hurt or he got a major injury during his time there, but I mean, he got to an NBA Eastern Conference Finals, but he never made it out. I think out of the second round, like the rest of his career in Chicago. And he had a great team, a great defensive team, and a great team at that. Never made it to like an NBA Finals or something like play for a championship, and that was his best opportunity with the Bulls. Then after that, he went to a young Minnesota Timberwolves, which I could cut him some slack because they were a young team, but then they ended up getting Jimmy Butler. And I think Butler stayed on the team, I want to say a year or even less than a year, and he was gone because he couldn't take it because the young guys on there were not really serious about practicing or something like that. So Tibbs lost that team too. I think he was in Minnesota for 3 years, and they got rid of him. So he comes to New York, and yeah, I mean his first year he got the Knicks to the playoff, and he had the fan base excited, But then, like I said again, and we got to the first round of the playoff, and we basically we didn't get swept, but I mean, it was close enough. I mean, it was a disaster in the first round against the Atlanta Hawks. And it's almost like this coach, he has a history of like getting his team to the playoff. He can get you there, but he won't take you there. And that's what's turned out to be the difference. It's like, yeah, he's good in the regular season, but when it gets to the postseason, it's like teams figure it out, and it's like, the regular season. The reason why I'm gonna tell you the regular season reason why, because it's a one game series. I mean, one game, not a series, but one game. You know, but in the playoff, it's a series. And when you see a team 4 times, 5 times, or 7 times in a 7 game series, and you figure them after one game, it basically almost like a cakewalk. It basically is. So you don't have to make adjustments because they're gonna come back with the same thing. He's not going to change up nothing. And I think part of his problem is his adjustment. He doesn't make good adjustments. He doesn't make in-game adjustments, and that's kind of like sad, for a veteran coach. This guy been coaching for over close to 20 years in the NBA. He's a veteran coach. He's not a rookie coach. So it's like, how players have to up their game and get better. Coaches have to do the same thing too. You have to get better as a coach. You have to evolve as a coach. You also have to make adjustments. And if you're not making adjustments, and you're going to get the results that you're getting, and people are starting to see, it's like, if we get bombed out again in the second round or in the first round, it's like, okay, we've reached our ceiling. This coach has reached a ceiling as a coach, because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's like at some point, you're going to just like, you know what? I'm done with this. It's like, yo, I've seen enough. It's like, and everybody can be, it's predictable. You're going to know what's going to happen in the playoff. It's predictable. We're going to struggle scoring the ball. We're going to go into a half court offense, and our offense gets stagnant. No ball movement. Nobody's moving. Nobody's cutting. So when it's like that, it's easy to defend that. It's almost like an ISO ball. It's easy to defend that. And that's why I say, as a coach, he has to probably hire an um, offensive assistant coach that can get the players moving and get into an up-tempo offense or into a motion offense and cutting and doing something. So that way it won't just be like an ISO and they could just concentrate on one player, trying to stop one player or two player. Now, if you got guys moving and cutting to the basket and doing all kind of things, or, what I'm saying, then it's like you don't know who to defend and who to stop. It's like, so it's like you almost like it's unpredictable. And that's what you want in the playoffs, because in the playoffs, you have to up your game. You have to up your coaching too in the playoffs. So things have to change. You can't come into the postseason like you did in the regular season. Regular season teams, some teams are like, yeah, they playing, but they don't, they just on cruise control. But when you get in the playoff, like everything has to step up. Your level has to step up, your intensity has to step up, and also your basketball IQ has to step up. And I think some of the times it's like the players on our team is like that offensive intensity is almost like they're in the postseason, but they're still like a regular season intensity. It's still like a regular season intensity. So it's like in the postseason, you have to step your game up. You have to evolve. You have to take it up another notch. And on defense, you got to hustle. You got to what you call it? You got to keep moving. It's like you can't just like jog up the court. You have to sprint up the court. In the postseason, you got to pick your level of play up, because that's what the postseason is about. You got to step your game up if you want to advance. And like I said, and that's because, and it's a series. So it's a 7 game series. It's like you got to win 4 out of 7. So these guys really got to step it up. It's like this year in the playoff, like I said, we did good in the playoffs in the first round because, like I said, we had Jalen Brunson. He was a dog. I mean, we rest on Jalen Brunson. R.J. Barrett stepped up. Randall was kind of hurt. You know what I'm saying? He was playing through an injury and stuff like that. But like I said, looking at the Miami series, is like, we really didn't step our game up. We should have stepped it up even a little bit more. But that's neither here nor there. But like I said, after that series and after that playoff, I'm looking at it like, okay, so what do the Knicks have to do to improve to get themselves up to like the other teams in the conference? Or we were the 4th seed this year. Are we going to be back to 4th seed? Are we going to be a 3rd seed? Are we going to be a 5th seed next year? You see, all that plays a factor. So it's like, what are you doing in the offseason to improve your team? And looking at what the Knicks have done in the offseason, I don't think they've done really too much. Only thing they've done was, like I said, is like they didn't have no draft picks to really have an exciting young player come to the team. They traded Obi Toppin, and so far they've only signed Dante DiVincenzo. That's it. That's their big signing, and that's it. And like I said, part of it is because the Knicks only had like I think a $12 million mid level exception to play with. So they had to run it back. So we're gonna see if the Knicks bomb out this playoff and they don't step up, then I think it's gonna be some big changes coming. Either the front office or the coach is gonna be gone, or it might bring it back, but it might be the players that's gonna be out, going out. And the Knicks will have cap space, and they'll have plus they still have their draft picks. They got a bunch of draft picks, and that's another thing. Like I said, the Knicks are loaded with assets. They got a bunch of first round picks. You know what I'm saying? They got some young talent on the team and stuff like that. So if a trade has to be made for a superstar or something like that, it can be made. But my whole thing is, will this front office pull the trigger? That's the whole thing. Will they pull the trigger? Yeah, sometimes some of the deals be looking like it's so much. Teams be trying to like get so much out of the Knicks, and then when you look at other deals for other teams, and you be like, that's all they gave up? Like fish heads and rice, that's all they gave up. But when they come to the Knicks, it's like everybody wants like the moon. They want the stars. You know what I'm saying? They want everything. They want like 8 first round picks and like 4 players, for a guy who's a star, a superstar. But it's like that's too much. You know what I'm saying? It's like so it's almost like with some when you got to trade for a superstar, you got to make sure it's like like a 3 or 4 team deal. So that way you could give us some, the other team could help out, you know what I'm saying, to alleviate some of the pressure on it. And I think that's what's going to happen. But like I said, going into this season right now is, like I said, this is going to be a make or break season for the Knicks, for the team and for the front office and the coach to see what they can do, what they can accomplish. Now, this past season, we got into the second round and we lost in the second round. Now, if they make it to a conference finals, though, Eastern Conference Finals, now that's an improvement. So then you'd be like, okay, we made it to Eastern Conference Final. We got some money. We got some salary cap open up. We got some draft picks. Let's go get this star. Like, you know what I'm saying? If star is available, let's go get this superstar to see if he can do it. But if these guys come back, like I said, if these guys play like a team, with some dogs on it, with some depth on it and stuff like that, and we lose the series by like just a little, I'll be like, okay, you know what? I think we could run it back. I think these guys have it. You know what I'm saying? I think they woke up. You know what I'm saying? I think they could do it. So we'll see what happens this year and, this upcoming NBA season. But like I said, as far as like the free agency, yeah, I gave it a D. I didn't think the Knicks did enough to improve their team. But like I said, it's still, there's still trades could be made. You just never know what's going to happen. You know, and sometimes some deals are out there like nobody knows it's coming up. You know what I'm saying? It could be, I know some people don't want Karl Anthony Towns or someone else like that, but you just never know. It could be a deal that we never even see coming, and it happens. I mean, if it does, I'll be happy for it. You know what I'm saying? If it's going to improve the Knicks, get us closer to a chip, I'll be happy. But like I said, so far, like I said, I haven't seen nothing from this front office to make me think like something big is coming up. I know some people are delusional. Some people think like a trade is coming, this is coming, but I haven't seen nothing that's going to make me think like, they're going to do something, until, what I'm saying, because they don't have no track record. This is a new front office, what I'm saying? So I don't know what, what I'm saying, if they was on another team and I could see what they've done in the past and things like that to go off or something like that. Yeah, I could go off of that, but there's nothing I could go. This is their first time as a front office, so they had no track record. So that leads me to believe like I'm just like you. I'm just going to be wondering what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. But as far as like I said, the front office, I'm not really sold on them either yet. Until like I said, if we can make some moves and things like that, and they shock me and do some things that I think, then I'll be all in on them. But as for right now, I think I'll just keep my thoughts and things like that and just hope and pray like they do the best. But like I said, I'm not sold on. Maybe other people might be sold on them and things like that, and they're happy where the Knicks are and stuff like that. Yeah, like I said, we got to the second round, but second round ain't. We want striving for more. We want to get to a conference final. We want to get play for an NBA championship. That's the end goal. To see we want to see if this team is going to get better. We want to see if as far as like the substitution patterns, like how this team play. We're going to be an up tempo team. We're going to be a half court team. We're going to be 2 units. We got to see what's going to happen. But like I said, as far as like with the coaching, like I said, he has to show me more as a coach. If he can't do it, like I said, get an offensive assistant in here who can do it. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing, no point about being stubborn. You know what I'm saying? He's a good defensive coach, things like that. But as far as offense, we need an offensive assistant. We need somebody in here to help him. So that way, we can get this thing going. Because if we come back with the same team and the same concept and we do the same thing again, we're going to get the same result in the playoffs. And what happens? Zone defense. It's almost like this team act like they never seen a zone defense before. it's like teams are like when you're beating a team man to man and you're eating them up, teams are going to throw a zone to see if that's going to slow you down or see how it's going to affect you. And every time they throw a zone at the Knicks or they do something like that, it slows us down. It's almost like we don't have shooters, but at the same time, there's two ways to beat a zone. Either you're going to shoot them out of a zone or you're going to penetrate, get the ball to the middle, to the free throw line. Have that player at the free throw line has to be a player with a high basketball IQ that can make the plays. Did you see Jokic, the center for the Nuggets? Every time he got to the free throw line, what happened? They gave him the ball, and he made great decisions. He passed the ball to somebody cutting out of basket for a dunk or somebody going backdoor for a layup. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep moving. Once you get the ball in the middle, you got to keep moving so that way it makes the pass easier and it's also get you easy baskets. But if you don't have nobody in that free throw line and you can't shoot, all you're going to do is be taking outside shot, 3-point shoot. That's all you're going to do. You're going to be taking shots. And if you're not making them, that's what the zone defense is for. And that's what it make you do. Miss a lot of shots and they're going to get the rebound. And most likely, like I said, you're going to end up losing the game. And that's why teams go into a zone. And NBA don't play too many zones. But if a team is cooking, they're beating you their penetration, and they're beating you to the basket, teams are going to get into a zone to try to slow you down and see what you're going to do. Now, if you're going to shoot them out of a zone, you can shoot them out of a zone. If you do that, then they really have no other choice. But if you're not going to shoot them out of a zone, then guess what? They're going to stop you and they're going to win. And that's what happens. And like I said, as a good coach, like I said, is one thing, but a great coach is another to make adjustments. And I don't think we made adjustments. If you watch us through the playoffs, we didn't make no adjustments once they threw the zone on. It's like we wasn't having nobody at the free throw line. All we was doing was throwing up 3-point shots, and they were not going in. So it's just like, come on. It's like, and this is going on game after game after game. After that first game in the Miami series, where we went like, where they was going man to man, and we was eating them up, they stopped. They started playing mostly zone throughout the rest of the playoffs, and that's how they beat us. They threw a zone defense at us. They had shooters, and their shooters was hitting the shots. Our shooters wasn't making the shots, and that was another thing. We wasn't making shots. We had a lot of good looks. We just wasn't making a basket. And that's why I thought in the offseason to address that, I thought the Knicks was probably going to look to get some shooters. Yeah, they said Dante D, yeah, he can shoot, but like I said, he's not the shooter that I was thinking about. Like I said, I'm thinking more of like, shooters like Buddy Hield, Seth Curry, people like that, somebody like that. But like I said, he might prove me wrong. So I'll have to wait and see what he does in the regular season. But as far as, like I said, that the Knicks free agency, I didn't think the Knicks did enough to improve their team because I know we needed more playmakers and things like that and guys who can get shots, buckets, or buckets. And I don't know if we got that. So we just gonna have to wait and see. But like I said, the offseason isn't over yet. So who knows if they could sign somebody else or they can make a trade or something like that. But for right now, if this is what we have right now, this team we have right now, we're gonna run it back. And like I said, it's gonna be an interesting season, like I said. But the regular season is one thing, but as far as the postseason, that's what it's about. The postseason for me, I want to see what you're gonna do in the postseason. The regular season, like I said, that's child's play. The postseason, that's grown man. I want to see if you're gonna be grown. I want to see if you got that dog in you. I want to see, like I said, this year in the playoff, I enjoyed like the Miami Heat and I enjoyed the LA Lakers. Even though Lakers ran out a little bit of gas, LeBron was hurt, but those teams were playing. Those are two surprising teams the way they were moving through the playoffs. Like I said, if we would have been playing like that, yeah, it would have been great if we were going to be playing like that, but I didn't think we were playing like that throughout most of the playoffs, especially in the Miami series. The Cleveland series, we did good, Cleveland series, we did real good. But as far as the other thing, like I said, the other series, like I said, that kind of like show us where we need to improve in the off season. So that way, when we get there the next time, we'll be ready. Like I said, yeah, we had some players that was doing, doing some good things. But then, like I said, we had players that we counted on in the regular season that really didn't step up in the postseason. And I know IQ got hurt, but before then, he really wasn't having a good postseason. And it happens sometimes. But like I said, hopefully next year we'll be ready. These guys will be ready. They got another year under their belt. They went to the playoffs. They see what, playoff intensity. So next year they know what to expect. It's like we got to raise our level of play up, So that's what I'm counting on. But like I said, as far as that, And as far as the front office, like I said, the Knicks, like I said, for right now, like I said, it's the off season is a D for me until, but like I said, it might not be finished, but for right now, if it is finished, me, it's a D. I didn't think they improved that much. And as far as, like I said, the front office, I'm not sold on the front office until, like I said, I could see that we making major improvements in the regular season. I mean, the postseason to see how we do. So these moves that we made, hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's going to come to fruition. It's going to be a good season. But who knows? Maybe it's a trade coming. I don't know. But as far as right now, if this is what they're going to run back with. Mm, I don't know. So it's gonna take me a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take us a minute. We really gonna see what this team is made of and what they have. You know. But like I said, as far as that, we'll see what happens. Other teams got better. Let me see in the division. Milwaukee basically to me kind of stayed the same. They almost like they basically like ran it back. The only signing they had was Malik Beasley. You know, so I ain't do too much. Now the Sixers are in turmoil right now because James Harden opted in, but he opted in to be traded. So that could go any way. They get rid of Harden body, then they're going to be down too. Or who knows? Embiid might want to be traded too. He might force his way out. So that's another situation. And as far as Boston, now Boston, like I said, they got rid of the heart and soul of their team, which is Marcus Smart, the defensive player, the former NBA Defensive Player of the Year player, who's the most tenured Celtics was there. They got rid of him and they brought in Kristaps Porzingis, another Knicks draft pick, a former Knicks draft pick. When healthy, Porzingis is like he could give them that double double, you know what I'm saying? But as far as the toughness and all that stuff, in the playoffs, I don't know about that. So that left to be, leaves to be desired. Or they can make another move. Well, they just traded Grant Williams, in a sign and trade, so I think they're going to give us a couple of second round picks or something like that. And there's a 3-team deal or something like that. But they're probably going to make more moves. So Boston, like I said, did they improve? As far as scoring wise, they probably did. But as far as defensive wise, I know they got a little bit weaker because they got rid of their heart and soul on defense. So I don't know, that leaves to be seen, like what Boston is going to be in the regular season. So to me, like they said, the top 3 teams, I'll say Boston probably improved out of the top 3 teams. And who knows? I mean, if Miami makes this trade, that's another. Miami's another. If they make the trade for Damian Lillard, that could catapult them to like the number 1 or the number 2 seed. You know, with Dame. So they have to wait and see if they're gonna get that trade done or not. So those are 4 teams right there. And then Brooklyn Nets, they really didn't do too much either. They really didn't add nobody to the Brooklyn Nets. So who knows if they're gonna make a trade or not. So basically, it's almost like the East kind of stayed the same. So the Knicks still can be up in that top 4 echelon. Like I said, but it's up to them. They running back. These guys really got to come. They really got to bring it. But like I said, my main thing is I want to see what they're going to do in the postseason. So much for the regular season. We already know regular season is like, yeah, they're going to do what they got to do, just to make the play in or make the playoffs. But when you get in there, it's like, you're going to do it. So, like I said, this season should be an interesting season as far as for the Knicks. And like I said, this season right here would be a pressure season for the players and also the coaching staff, and also the front office, because everybody is going to be under pressure, like to get something done, to like see improvement. If they don't improve, or if they go in the playoffs and they bomb out in the first round, it's going to be a disaster. And I don't want it to be, but if that's what happens, that's just what happens. But like I said, I see that, and I hope they do. I hope they do good. I hope they do good. So that's all for right now. Like I said, thank you for joining this episode of the Man Cave podcast. And we'll see you, like I said, we'll see you next week. Thanks for checking in. And also, if you like this content, please hit that like and subscribe button, and also comment in the section below what you thought about this video and things like that. All right. Guys have a good night, and thank you for joining the Man Cave podcast.